All right, so welcome everybody to the 10 Steps to Success. Today, we're going to talk about step number two, launching your biz, right? So this is important. Now we've defined our why, right? We've talked about that. Okay, we got to have a passion, we have to have a desire, we got to have a why that makes you cry because we know that being an entrepreneur is not easy. We know that there's going to be ups and downs. We know it's a roller coaster that has its thrilling moments of speed, and then there's all of a sudden moments where it's like, oh, this is the worst. So that's normal, and everyone that wants to be successful in their life needs to realize that that's how it's going to be, right? You can't just have the lottery mindset of, hey, I won the lottery, I got $1 million, and I'm done, right? It doesn't work that way. You have to become that $1 million person, and as Jim Rohn likes to teach. And so the defining your why will help you get through the tough times. It'll help you get through the twists and turns and the zigs and zags and things that happen with entrepreneurship. So now that we've done that, now we have a why. Now we've created that vision in our mind of why we're here and why we're willing to go through the struggles that it entails. Now we're going to actually take the logical next step of how do we start? Okay. So getting started, one, two, three. Number one is getting plugged in, right? We need to get plugged in. We need to have the confidence that it's something that's real, right? So success will follow that confidence. So you've got to be familiar with the vision and the support systems that are available to you. And right now, we're talking about joining Telegram groups, joining Facebook groups, being part of weekly trainings, and so on. Right? We just got to plug in and really understand what's happening, right? So that when we talk to other people, we know where to invite them, where they can participate, how they can be part of this mission as well. So that means then also getting to know the products and services, right? Becoming a product of the product. Okay, we have to have access to, we do now have access to amazing products and services that can enhance our lives. So we got to get to know them so we can have a story to tell. Now, currently in this actual moment, that's not totally possible. Okay, because we're still in wait mode. But at some point, we will, right? We'll have the products, we'll have the services, we'll have everything that we need, and we need to be part of them. We need to have our own testimonial, our own experience, so that we can share how those products and services have benefited us, and people can say, "Oh, okay, so you used it; it worked for you." Yes. Ah, okay, that's great. And now we can share that story with everyone we know. And then, of course, like I said, sharing, right? So, how do we share? There are many ways to share with the prospects. You can do text, you can send emails, you can do a selfie video. Those are fun, okay? Use Facebook Messenger, etc. And then, one of the most effective ways to share is what we like to call the ATM method, which is add, tag, and message. Why? Because this means that you're now adding somebody into the community. Okay. So Facebook is great, in my opinion, because it has the most people and the most tools to share things with. I like Telegram a lot. Messenger is okay. WhatsApp is okay. Bottom line is we just got to get people into the community. We got to get them involved where they can be um, surrounded by the like-minded people, right? That are believing in the same mission, and everything, and we let these tools do the communicating, right? Because obviously, yes, we want to be in touch with our own people and send them messages directly and stuff, but we also want them to see what's happening, right? And if they're not in the groups, then they will get cold, right? They're not near the campfire, and so they're not going to get that same influence as if they're in those groups and they can see what's happening. They get the reminders, and then that takes a burden off of you because now there's other people that can answer questions and talk to them and and share things with them, all that kind of stuff, right? So super awesome way to use a Facebook group is the add tag message. And that means you just add them to the group, you tag them, okay, and then you message them. So you tag them. Tagging in Facebook means that you put their name, and Facebook will recognize their name and it'll highlight it, right? And make it so that it sends a message to them that they've been tagged. And so they'll go look at it, right? So it's not enough to just add them to the group. You tag them so that it notifies them that they've been added to the group. And then you also put a little message saying, hey, so-and-so, I just added you to this group. Here's where you can find all the latest information. Here's where you can see what's going on and how we're, doing this positive social impact. So it's a great way to do it. And then after that, you just want to, follow up, right? The fortunes in the follow up, as we've all heard. Okay, so you don't just add them to the group and then tag them and you're like done, right? No, you want to continue to follow up with them and make sure that they're also maybe in Telegram or WhatsApp or whatever groups that you've got personally, so that they can always be up to speed on what we're doing. Okay, but of course you want to qualify people, right? You want to make sure that you're starting with people that are a little bit more like-minded. So here's how you do it. Here's where we get into the old school method of writing down your contacts. So go on your cell phone. Just look on your cell phone. I don't even know how many people I've got. I literally probably have close to 1,000 contacts on my phone that I've collected over the years, right? And so there's a great way to go through your cell phone. Just look at your contact list, all your people there, and write down the ones you think could potentially be interested in what we do. All your emails, right? Look in your email list of who you got. Look at your social media, right? Who are your friends on Facebook? Who are your followers that you've got on different things? Think back who your classmates were, right? Whatever it is, there's so many people that we all know. And if you can start out with about 50, right? Just get 50 people that you could potentially talk to over the next little while. That's a great place to start. Now, things to consider. We never want to prejudge. You never know. I've had literally hundreds of experiences where all of a sudden I was doing something and somebody contacted me after the fact and said, why didn't you tell me about that? I didn't think you'd be interested. Well, of course I am. And then there were a lot of times those people actually already signed up. They signed up with somebody else, and now they're in it, and they're doing it. And it's like, oh, I should have talked to you. Oh, dang it. Right. That happens all the time. All the time. I'm not kidding. You never know who's going to be interested or not. So don't prejudge, don't justify, don't doubt, don't think for them. Just write down their name and send them a message. And if they say no, well, okay, yeah, at least that's on them, right? But it's the most frustrating thing ever to be doing your business, and all of a sudden somebody that shows up at a meeting or on a Zoom or something, and you're like, wait a sec, who invited you? Oh, so and so. And you're like, I could have had that person on my team. So don't hesitate. Just write them down. And then think about, okay, who do I want to work with? So we're talking about people that care about other people. We're talking about people with great character integrity. We're talking about people that get stuff done, right? We're talking about people that are fun to work with, that think big and bold, that kind of stuff, right? Now, it doesn't mean we're going to exclude people that don't have those qualities, but we're just going to start with people that do, okay? And try and get them involved. So here's the priority, right? Let's say you've got a list of people, and so you just kind of categorize them, right? You prioritize and you say, okay, well, John, he's reliable, he's got a good attitude, he's very social, and he's got the economics, right? He's got some money, so he's not going to be scared by the cost of entry. Boom, let's go for John first, right? Then Peter, okay, maybe he's reliable, he's got a good attitude, he's social, but he's just, he's not making a lot of money, so he might be hesitant on the cost of entry. Okay, we'll put him second, right? Then all the way down, we're James, right? James, he's not reliable, he has a bad attitude, he's not very social, and he has no money. Probably not going to start with him, right? And so on. Okay. Now you want to go through and actually do the follow-up stuff. Okay. So you want to start with the people who literally are your your go-tos, right? Your people that you would call in the middle of the night to come pick you up if you got stranded on the road, right? You got a flat tire or something. Who would you call first? Those are your ride or die people, right? And then you want to, as you write down these names, you're going to do these follow-ups, right? You're going to connect with them, pique their interest. You're going to do the corporate intro. You're going to do the ad tag message stuff. You're going to do three-way chat stuff, right? Three-way call, whatever it is. So you can check it off that you've done each of these steps with those people. Okay. Now, here's something that I like to use. It's called the tunnel method, right? Because honestly, if you've written down 50 names, okay, it's like, whoa, that can be overwhelming for a lot of people. Like, oh my gosh, right, how do I keep track of 50 people, right? But if you use the tunnel method, I love this because it keeps it simple. It keeps you focused, okay? And this is the tunnel method. It's basically you take, let's just say, two names, okay? Two names at the most, maybe three, and you've put them in the tunnel. These are the three names I'm going to work on this week or today or whatever. Okay. And you put them in the tunnel. That means that you've sent them an invite, you've sent them a message, you've sent them something, and they stay in the tunnel until you get a yes or a no. Once you've gotten a yes or a no, now you take them out of the tunnel, right? So if they say no, okay, that's fine, right? You just take them out of the tunnel, you put them back on your list, and you put a note saying, "Hey, I'm going to follow up, with them in a few months or whatever." Okay, and a yes obviously means they've signed up. Okay, so the idea is you're only working on two or three at a time. Okay, so that you're not feeling overwhelmed by 50 people on your list, right? So, and then as soon as somebody signs up or somebody says no, you take them out of the tunnel and you put a new name in the tunnel. Okay. Now, that's the old school. Okay. That's the way to write your list and sort them and then use the tunnel method and all that. The other method that I like to use, because eventually you're going to run out, right? Eventually you run out of your warm market, you run out of names on that list. I mean, you probably know hundreds of people that you could put on the list eventually, but at the same time, what we want to do is attract new people. Okay, we want to attract cold market people so that there's people knocking on your door, people that are coming and they're searching you out, and because they want to know what it is you're doing, right? And so that's what I like to call lighthouse marketing. Now, lighthouse marketing is this. It's a simple but profound principle. So it basically is comparing. So back in the old days, right? We know this when lighthouses were actually used for boats. Okay, the way they did it was they were up on a hill, right? The boats out on the ocean would come in, and if it was at night, they would run the risk of crashing into the rocks, right? And so people invented lighthouses way back when to shine the light on the harbor so that those ships could come in safely, right? The lighthouses, like it says here, they're ancient. For hundreds of years, they've shown their light out into the ocean, into the sea, to guide millions of ships back safe to harbor. Right? The lighthouse doesn't move. The lighthouse doesn't change. Right? The lighthouse, it's there. It's always lit. It's available. It attracts. It doesn't chase people. Okay? It's solid. It's immovable. It's dependable. But most people aren't like that, unfortunately. Okay. They're like searchlights, which is different. The searchlight, okay, is like the person that hops in the rowboat with their light, okay, and they go out into the water and they're looking for struggling people, right? They're shining their light out there. Maybe that ship came in and it did crash against the rocks, and the people fell in the water, and okay, they're trying to go save them, right? And so that it's not a bad thing, right? These people are ambitious, they're friendly, they're determined to help as many as they can. So they go out there, they shine their light into the gloom and the mist and everything. They're trying to find these financially drowning prospects, right? And then they excitedly haul them up under their boat and they wear themselves out rowing back to shore. And then it's back into the rowboat to go find somebody else. And we know how tiresome that can be. Okay. It can get really tiresome over time to just keep going out and doing that. You eventually get to the point where you're like, oh man, this stinks. I'm tired. I don't want to keep doing it. Okay. So the lighthouse sits above all the activity and does just one thing. It casts the light out miles into the ocean and it lets the ships know where safety lies. So if a lighthouse could talk, it might say something like this. If you use me as a guide, you can find safe harbor. If you navigate by my light, you won't crash on the rocks. But understand, I'm not coming out to get you. Okay. I'm not going to turn off my light. I'm not going to get down into the sea and help one person at a time. I'm a lighthouse. I am built on an absolute rock solid foundation and I attract people to me. I never chase them. Right. So, and some people go, oh, but Jeremy, that I don't know, I'm not that kind of person, whatever. So that's what I say. There's two methods here, right? One is the old school method we just talked about, creating your list and all that stuff. So you want to start there to kind of get yourself going while you build yourself up as a lighthouse. Okay, this is not something where you can turn your lighthouse on overnight, right? That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is we want to start to become the lighthouse so that eventually, months from now, years from now, we are the light and we can start to attract in new people because we've exhausted our list. Okay, that's the idea here. So here's the example, right? Is this poor network marketer, he's gone out into the world, given the industry a bad name, and he's become an official member of the NFL, right? The No Friends Left Club. We've all heard that. And this is a common story because it's unfortunately, these individuals have not been trained correctly on how to go out and do it correctly. And they've never been trained on how to become a lighthouse. Okay. So network marketing, of course, is a business. It requires marketing. And the average person that gets started, they're going to usually quit in frustration before they ever start making real money because they never learned how to do this correctly, right? So how do you become a lighthouse marketer? Well, the first thing that separates the heavy hitter from the bumbling amateur is their posture. And posture is so important. And we'll talk about that actually in a different training. But rookies hunt and heavy hitters fish. Okay. That's kind of the other analogy that I really like. Rookies hunt, but heavy hitters fish. Okay. We're going to put the bait out there and attract people in, right? And there's four pillars to doing that. There's paid advertising, there's search engine optimization, there's social media, and there's traditional marketing like putting out flyers and banners and stuff on your car and all that kind of thing, right? Those are basically the four pillars of marketing. There really is, right? You can pretty much summarize all the kinds of marketing out there into those four things. Okay. And so paid ads obviously requires budget, and we're not going to do a paid advertising training. That's a whole nother topic by itself. Lots of technique and lots of things you can do with it. It's very efficient, very effective if you have money to do paid ads, right? It can be very, very good for some people, but it's expensive and not easy. Search engine optimization is relatively cheap. It's basically putting up a blog. Okay, that's where you want to just put up your own website, your own blog. You put up, different articles and things, and you attract people by the content you're putting out there, right? The third thing is the social media aspect, okay, which in my opinion is the easiest and probably the most efficient way to do things. And then the fourth is traditional marketing, and there's nothing wrong with traditional marketing. I love it. Why not, right? If you can go put a flyer up somewhere, or hand out some business cards, or put a thing on your back window of your car, all right, to, hey, call me about this. Great. It's slow, right? I mean, that's the one thing about traditional marketing is it's a lot slower, but it can still be very effective. Okay. So today we're going to talk about starting with social media. That's really where I recommend, especially for beginners, to start with. And what I recommend is starting with the three big ones, right? Because yeah, you can do TikTok or you could do, all these other ones. You could do X, formerly Twitter, but those require more specialized training where the masses are, right? Because we're talking about fishing here. Okay. So when you go fishing, you want to go where the fish are, right? Like if you're fishing a stream and there's no fish, like why are you wasting your time? Or you go to some lake and there's no fish in there, like no, that's silly, right? Or there's very few fish, right? It's been overfished or whatever. So no, you want to go where their people are, right? And where are the people? It's in Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Those are the three biggest. That's just we're talking. If you want to find people, go where the people are, right? And it doesn't matter politics. It doesn't matter. Oh, I'm not a fan of Mark Zuckerberg and all the politics that are out there and they're taking over the world or whatever. Don't worry about it. That's not why we're going to Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Okay. We don't care what their politics are. We don't care any of that, right? We're not dealing with Mark Zuckerberg or, the owners of Alphabet, Google. That's not who we're working with. We're finding people, right? And the people are in Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. That's where they're at. Okay. So forget politics, forget your prejudices against, oh, I hate those guys. I would never be on Facebook. No, don't do that because who cares? It's a platform, right? That's all. It's a tool, and that's where the people are. So we're going to go to Facebook. We're going to go to YouTube. We're going to do Instagram because they're free. It's free. You can go on there and find millions of people. Period. Right? That's the point. Okay. Now, after that, we're going to do our fundamentals. Okay. So fundamentals, what are they? Personal development. You got to do personal development, right? 30 minutes a day. You got to be listening to audios. You got to be reading books. You got to be going to trainings, whatever it is, something. 30 minutes a day of personal development so that you can become that $1 million person. Exercise. Yeah. Yeah. I know. I'm not a fan of exercise myself, but you can do it just 3 times a week, just a little bit, right? It just the physical is important. Eating right, exercising, all that stuff. It will make sure that you're feeling good about what you're doing. Okay. Phone time. We're talking about contacting, educating, closing 30 to 90 minutes a day, whatever you can fit in. Okay. Go on your lunch break in the evening, whatever it is, but just know, schedule it. I'm going to be contacting, educating, and closing at least 30 minutes a day. And then, of course, make sure you're doing family and personal time. Don't forget your why ever, right? Never, ever. Make sure you're going to birthday parties and doing all those things. I've heard people say, oh, you got to go do a whole blitz thing and forget birthdays and forget, holidays and forget whatever, you tell your family that they're not going to see you for 90 days. I don't agree with that personally. I don't think that's necessary. I think if you do the steps right, you can still enjoy your life, right? All right. So here's what your first 30 days could look like. Okay. So the on Facebook, right? 4 hours a week. That's it. Okay. Like I said, about 30 minutes a day. Okay. 4 hours a week approximately. Create your profile and get it all set up looking professional. So make sure your picture is a nice looking picture. Don't put a picture of the company, the logo, the product. Don't put a picture of your dog, even though your dog might be super cute. Don't do it. Put a picture of you looking good. Okay. Now, does it have to be all formal and stuff, shirt and a tie or whatever? It's up to you, right? I would say as long as it looks good and it looks professional, it's fine, right? Because people want to just work with somebody that they know, like, and trust, right? If they know you, they like you, and they trust you, they're going to want to do business with you. It's as simple as that. So once you've created a profile and you've got it looking professional and you fill out the bio stuff and everything, make sure it's all up to date and you have a little, your little mission statement and all that so they can know who you are, right? Don't hide. People want to know who they're working with, so don't hide. Now, obviously don't put something super personal, but definitely put stuff about you, your resume basically, right? On your Facebook. Now, after that, here's the other thing. You need to get an audience. Okay. So the whole point of social media is getting an audience. It's getting people who follow you, who like you, who, they're friends with you, that kind of stuff. So how do you do that? Well, Facebook has an algorithm where if you go crazy, they will shut you down. They'll put you in what we call Facebook jail. And we don't want that. So you just got to take it slow and steady, right? Like I like to say, Rome wasn't built in a day, but it was built every day. So the ultimate goal is to get to 5,000 friends. That's the maximum you can have on Facebook. It's 5,000 friends. Now you have 5,000 people that are watching what you're doing, right? You're the lighthouse and 5,000 people are watching what you're doing. So how do you do it? Well, add approximately 20 people a day, right? And you can do that by going into different networking groups. That's where you're going to find the like-minded people. You don't want to just go into any random group, right? No, you want to go into groups where people are already entrepreneurial, right? Where people are already thinking about, how they can have influence in the world and stuff, right? So that's the goal. Go into some of these groups where you can find training. You could go into like a Ray Higdon group, or you could go into I don't know, what's the other ones? Uh, so Eric Worre's groups, right? Like the different trainers that are out there, just generic trainers, go into their groups, go into different, networking and entrepreneurial type groups, and just say, "Hey, I'm here, friend me," right? And what's going to happen? All these people are going to be like, "Ah, fresh blood," right? And they're going to want to friend you, and that's great. That's okay. You don't have to know these people at all. No, just get friends that are already open to the idea of networking and relationship marketing and being an entrepreneur. Why? Because the hardest step in all of this is fighting back against the, oh, well, that's a pyramid scheme. Oh, that's one of those, scams or whatever, right? Like, we don't want those kind of people. You don't want to just friend people that are going to immediately call you out for, oh, you're one of those scammers, right? No, of course not. We want to have people who are already open to the concept, who already, love the idea of doing networking and building a business and stuff, right? They've done it in the past, maybe, or they're open to it at least. Okay. And that is done by going into the groups where those kind of people are. And then you add them, they add you. And the goal is every week just go into more groups, add more friends, leave comments, right? Leave value, participate, okay? And repeat. That's it. And then eventually, next thing you know, you're going to have 1,000 friends, 2,000 friends, 5,000 friends, right? And they're all going to be the kinds of friends that are open to doing business. It's awesome. All right. Second thing, YouTube. YouTube is huge. There's so many people on YouTube, and YouTube loves to share your content. When you create new content, YouTube will kind of promote it for free, right? They'll put it out there. They'll say, "Hey, this new video came out," and they'll do it. They'll target it and all that for you. You don't even have to do anything other than just put your video out. So I know it can be scary a little bit. This is, one of those things you got to learn how to just get over yourself and not worry so much about, oh, do I have the perfect backlight? Do I have the background is okay? Oh, how do I look? All that. You don't have to worry about that so much, right? Now, obviously, you don't want to, look like a slob, okay? But just do a video. I mean, I did that when I first started doing all this. I would get on. I had my little whiteboard, right, with my little marker, and I would do a little training on the compensation plan or whatever, just in my front room. And people didn't care. People didn't care that I didn't have the perfect backdrop and that my lighting was dark or whatever. Right? Nobody cared. All they cared about was that I was sharing a really cool comp plan. Right? That's what they wanted to see. And so as long as you just share value, people will want to see your videos. Right? And they don't have to be long. Like, you can literally just get on and do a quick 2, 3, 5 minute video, and away you go. People actually prefer that nowadays, right? They're short. So it's great. You go and do then 5 new videos in a week, okay? And you'll start to get new contacts, okay? And you just keep doing that. Just keep creating content, because the more videos you have, the algorithm will kick in and it'll say, oh, this person is active, and it will announce it, right? YouTube will announce your videos out to the ether, and more people will see it. And the more videos you have, you'll be like, oh, this person is here participating. And so you'll get more views just because you're doing it more. Okay. That's how it works. It's great. All right. And then Instagram, it's very similar. Okay. So if you want to do a third one, Instagram would be the one I recommend. Same kind of thing. This one, just 2 hours a week. You don't have to do a lot. Okay. Just create your account, post 2 to 4 things a day, and follow 200 new people. Then the next week, do the same thing. Post 2 to 4 times a day. Just share a picture, share a picture, share a picture. Could be motivational, could be about the product, could be about the service, could be about whatever. And then just kind of notice who's following you back and who isn't. And if certain people won't follow you back, you can unfollow them, right? But just keep following. Just find new people that you can follow, because the algorithm again will say, oh, look, this person's active, they're doing stuff, and it will promote your stuff more to the people. And there you go. That's how you build your lighthouse. Okay. That's the first 30 days. And you just keep going, keep going. Eventually, you will have thousands upon thousands of people to share the opportunity with, who want to be part of what you're doing because you've created content, you've created value, you've created something that's cool. They know you now, they like you now, and so they're willing to do business with you. Okay. So you are attracting these people. It's a magnet. We sometimes call this attraction marketing, right? Or magnetic marketing, because you're now attracting all these people in who want to know who you are and why you're doing this and what's this whole thing about a positive social impact. And oh my goodness, I'd love to be part of that, right? It's super cool. So finally, and this is the most important, is the follow-up. Okay. So yes, we're attracting all these people in and everything, but you got to engage, right? You got to engage, you got to do follow-up. So as we all know, Eric Worre taught this, it can take an average of 4 to 6 exposures for the average prospect to join. Okay. And then over here, this other one says, which one do you want to be? Okay. So 48% of people never follow up with a new prospect, right? They'll have somebody reach out to them. They'll have somebody, friend them. They'll have somebody that asks a question about the product or whatever. And then they'll respond one time, like, oh, here it is. Here's a video. Go watch it. And then they drop it, right? They just let it go. Like, no, you can't do that. 25% of people make a second contact and stop. 12% of people only make 3 contacts and stop. Only 10% of the people make more than 3 contacts. But here's the thing. 2% of sales are made on the first contact. 3% of sales are made on the second contact. 5% of sales are made on the third contact. 10% of sales are made on the fourth contact. 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. So there it is. You go build your lighthouse. You attract people in. You go create your list. You start contacting those individuals. That's awesome. It's great. It gets you set up for success. But if you want to accelerate your success, if you want to make sure you're going to have the most success possible, you got to do this last piece of it, which is the follow-up, meaning set the goal of contacting these individuals at least 5 times. Okay, 5 to 7 times. That's the goal, because then you're going to increase that possibility. 80% of the sales happen on that 5th to 12th contact. All right, friends, hopefully that was helpful for you. This is 20 years of experience that I've condensed down into, what do we do, about 30 minutes here. And so hopefully that was something you can take away from, take notes. I'll put the recording out on this so you guys can share it with your teams and everything. But here we go. Step 1, go get your why, define it. And step 2, let's launch your biz, do all these things I just shared. And I promise you, you will have some success that you can really taste and see and feel, and it will motivate you to keep going. All right. So with that,
thank you, Jeremy. Good job. Appreciate it very much. This has been great.
Awesome. No problem at all. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have an awesome weekend, and we will talk soon.